spinning for a long time, had somebody drop off 10 trash bags of llama, and I put that together in a little skein of yarn, and it turned out really super hard, ropey kind of yarn. Did a good job on these slippers, but I wanted to develop more of the spinning techniques that create the airy, fluffy woolen yarns. So I started getting into long draw. It's a totally new, way less control aspect of spinning that's hard for me. So I was spinning up, let's see, what is this? Oh, I decided to go with just a superwash wool that is a comb top, so it's very smooth, because clearly the prep for long draw is super important. And I chain plied the first bobbin of this and got about 140 yards. I'm working with about 100 grams of this superwash wool to begin with, and I thought, this is kind of boring, we will dye this. But we're going to dye it through using up some of this superwash that I have in stash, and I'm going to end up with about 4 skeins. We've got a little over 400 grams, but I'm only going to use 3 dyes. These are Prochem dyes. One is intense blue, one is fuchsia, and the yellow is golden yellow. And I just wanted to go through these and play with this and so I'm individually spinning up the 100 grams more or less of the superwash comb top. Then I'm dyeing that skein. Then I'm going to be doing some more long draw stuff. And it just seemed to me that by the end of this, the dyeing parts of it were way more interesting. Some of these I really show you what I'm doing, and some of them I didn't do a good job at showing you what I'm doing. But clearly we have the the intense blue, and then I added the fuchsia to it, and we have this violet color. And what's the color I'm going for here? I should tell you that. I'm going for a rust color, but a saturated rust color. So that's the color that I'm getting, that kind of orange at this point. So we're leaning toward the brown here, and I just want to show too how malleable the color is when you're just using a blue, a red, and a yellow. Those, of course, are the primaries on the color wheel. These are primary dyes, meaning that they're not mixed up colors ahead of time. I mean, we know that you can get pre-mixed colors from Prochem, from Jacquard, from Dharma Trading Company, and you get these cool colors. I've always liked mixing colors, and I guess that probably comes from my painting background. Okay, so we got kind of brown there. Now we're going to be going for, still going toward the intensity and just kind of refining what the color is that I want. With dyes are cumulative, so no matter how much water I add to this, it is dye quantity in relationship to fiber quantity. So it doesn't matter. If I put it in this water, it's going to dye that yarn, that color, that intensity, whether I add more water or not. The quantity of water won't affect the color itself, but more water is likely to provide a more even color distribution across the fiber. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Blue and yellow make green, yellow and red make orange, red and blue make violet, and they can make all kinds of things in between. If I had wanted to be able to closely reproduce any of the colors in this video, I would have had to have carefully measured all the dyes rather than just winging it, which is really all we did here. Okay, so there I am. I'm happy with this color. What I'm going to do is just let this sit while I'm spinning up the next skein here. I'm going to let that sit and absorb the color, and then I'll heat set it. What I was having problems with the long draw was getting enough twist in my fiber. And my fiber, you know, you stretch it out. It's really an interesting process. But I have a lot less control doing this than like a short forward draw. And here we go, boop, yep, that happened a lot. And there's sound effects to that I'm not gonna add here. Anyway, that breaking this happened a lot as I would, you know, you long draw and then you can actually stretch some of that out before the twist really gets in. And it was a lot of fun. But I really had to let go of control for this, and that was difficult. Note on the sweater I'm wearing there, which I've had for years and years and years. It's the Iron Gate pullover from a book by Tona Tackle and Lise Kolstad. And these are two of their books. The yellow book is where that Iron Gate pullover is from. The blue one there is just more really beautiful color work. Love those books. They're from the 90s. I was having a hard time getting enough twist. I thought the concern was going to be the drafting, and that would be so complicated, but it ended up really being making sure that I was getting yarn out of this. And I was finally happy with that. Round two, we're going for a really deep, dark, saturated blue violet. So why am I adding yellow to a violet dye? I'll be dyeing 4 relatively similar skeins, and I want them to show a harmony within this color family. So all 3 dyes are included in each of the 4 final skeins. And you can see there's steam coming up off that water. It's just tap water hot. And I just wanted to make sure that I could dissolve the dyes in there without too much trouble. One of the things that you're seeing there is that the red is traveling along the yarn fibers, whereas the blue is kind of staying put, which is leading me to believe that the blue is actually striking on the fiber faster. I love that cornflower blue. I really actually thought about stopping there because it was so pretty. But I had this in my head that I wanted this dark, saturated purple. We move the color more into the violets, less toward the blues. Ooh, yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Every single one of those colors is really wonderful. Adding the citric acid. So that's first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and we're going in. All right, so, and then it's just like the other one, it's just gonna sit there and soak up dye, and I will heat set it later. it is amazing to me that that front hand pinch that controls the twist, if you open up, then the twist runs back into your fiber. If you close it off, then you can draft out without any twist being added. It was amazing how natural that was. So here we have skein number 3 soaking over there. And what are we doing? We are wanting a really striking acidy yellow-green. Okay, and that's my yellow. You can see how red that yellow is. It already leans kind of orange. So it's a yellow that, and there I am, that's the red that I'm adding. Almost nothing. Because I want this to be clearly green, right? So there, we're just yellow, right? All right, and there's another no spoonful of red. So it's just, I've added sort of a dusting of red twice, right? Adding the brilliant blue, and you know, that's a pretty spring green right there. And I will say I'm not as good as I need to be about understanding the value of color. And when I say value, I mean the dark and light, right? So I end up here with this acidy green that's really actually darker than what I meant to do. It's still a pretty awesome color. And you can see, again, those yellows and reds are traveling along the fibers of the yarn outside of where the blue is, and maybe I'll show it to you. Yep, there. Did you get a peek at that? So this is our 4th skein here. What color are we going for? Okay, so we have rust, we have purple, and we have an acidy green. This is going to be a dark, cool green. So leaning toward the blues was the intention. And so it's green, right? Red's on the other side. Look at that pretty pink. I mean, these colors are so great. These colors are so great. All of them are color. There is no color that is dislikable. Colors live in relation to one another, and they vibrate in relation to one another, and they are just gorgeous in relation to one another. This is why I enjoy dyeing with a little bit of variation in the yarn, because that's when I think the color really just is so beautiful. Some of the plies have more twist than others, and that tight twist is providing a resist. It looks like the dye is able to contact the fibers in those looser plies more completely, so there's more color there. White specks we see here are due to two things. One is the low water, which allows more resist from the yarn itself, and also from the timing of the acid. If I had mixed the dyes and let the yarn wallow in that dye bath without acid, I'd have gotten more even color distribution, and then I'd have added the acid just before the heat set. And look at all these wonderful variations of color through here. And it's just the same three dye colors. Oh, forgot to put the citric acid in there. Yeah, do as I say, not as I do. Please use gloves and a mask. And of course, none of this stuff gets used for food. So let's take a look at these, right? But before we get to that, the little neckerchief is Pebble Beach Shawl by Helen Stewart. And back to the yarn, one thing I wanted to talk about was those value changes, the value range that we had talked about a little bit earlier. One thing to bear in mind with values is if you are the 1 out of 4 persons who can't process molds, that reflects in your visual ability to distinguish values. And I will put a link in the description box if you want to look into that a little bit more. I have that problem, and it's always just it just blows me away when I see images in black and white, and it's not what I expected. Now these are the worst parts, the broadest variations that I could find in each one of these yarns to show the consistency or lack thereof in the long draw stuff. Clearly I have a way to go. I hope you liked it. I had fun. I hope you did too. Thanks for hanging out with me. Appreciate it. Working on doing similar stuff, but not with superwash, in those same bins, and looking at when the acid goes in and stuff, and maybe that'll turn into a video. Maybe it's really not worth it. We'll see. Anyway, thanks again. Fiber on. Love you guys. Bye.